Well, thank you, Carson, and thank you all very much for joining us today. I hope everyone is doing well and hanging in there as best you can in these interesting times. We're very pleased to have a great set of speakers for you today as part of our 2020 Energy Star Partner of the Year award winner webinar series. This series is something we've been doing this year, and there'll be one more in December, and we'll make a plug for that in just a moment. But before I go into our topic for today, I just want to give you a quick background about the Energy Star Partner of the Year award. This is an award that is awarded to organizations that really have outstanding energy management programs. And also, because it is the Energy Star Partner of the Year award, are also leaders within the Energy Star partnership and program. And an important part of that actually is around communications, not just communicating internally within your own organization about what you're doing, but also communicating externally about the value of energy efficiency and sharing some of your successes by working through programs like the Energy Star program. And you're going to hear some great examples from our presenters today about some of the things that they do to communicate really across all different levels of their organizations, both about their energy plans, but also about their accomplishments. And for those of you who are interested in learning more about the Energy Star Partner of the Year award, or perhaps are interested in applying for it, I'll just note that the deadline for this award is coming up. It's December 9th. And in order to apply for this, you will need to submit your application through your My Energy Star account. So obviously, if you don't have a My Energy Star account, you'll need to be an Energy Star partner. And if you have more questions about the whole process, then you can send a note to the email address here and talk to someone on our awards committee who can be happy to explain to you what you need to do and how you get your account if you are a partner but you can't seem to find your login information. Just as I mentioned before, this webinar today is part of a series that we're doing. We have one more coming up, which will focus on LED lighting, and that will be on December 3rd. Again, it should be a really good presentation to talk about some strategies about doing lighting upgrades across your organization. But today we're going to talk about communicating energy plans and achievements. And, you know, communications, from what I have seen for many energy managers, can be a challenging area because most energy managers are often more engineering types or project manager types, more technical people. And communications broadly isn't necessarily the main focus of what your activities in your mind may be, but yet it is really important for energy management. To have a successful energy program, you really need to be communicating really across every different aspect of what an energy management system does. You need to make your energy initiatives visible because often in the energy efficiency space, what we're doing may not be seen to most people. So explaining what you're doing and sharing what people can do to help is really critical. And of course, sharing your plans is necessary to get people on board, but also sharing the accomplishments really helps to bring even more people on board and build momentum. And so we're going to hear today from several really good energy managers that have obviously have world-class energy programs, or else they wouldn't have been awarded the Energy Star Partner of the Year award, but also people who really have good energy programs. And I can tell you, every one of these people you're hearing today from are engineers. So engineers can do this. If you're a technical person, you can be a great communicator about your energy program as well. So with that, I'm going to stop communicating, and I'm going to turn it over to Steve Coppinger from Cal Portland, who is company, I think, Steve, your company may be one of the longest running Energy Star Partner of the Year companies within our partner network. And I certainly know I've had the opportunity to know Steve for almost 20 years, and Cal Portland has a great program. So Steve, I've given you the control, and I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Great, thanks, Wal. You're right, yes, we've been involved in this Energy Star program for quite a while, and I'll get into that in a little bit. What I'll do today is talk about something that's very critical, as Walt mentioned, to our energy management program. I'll give you an overview of some of the communication initiatives that we've taken on and how it's helped our company with that program. But first, let me give you a little background about Cal Portland. We've been around since the late 1890s, so one of the oldest companies in California. We're a manufacturer of construction materials, so we make things like cement, concrete, aggregates, asphalt, those things that kind of make up the infrastructure of our world. And we have facilities primarily in the western U.S. and Canada, and about 3,000 employees. We have 150 facilities throughout our company, but some of them are very large industrial plants, and others, like a cement plant, for example, others are smaller ready-mix concrete plants. But we are a manufacturing company, so we make products. And we do spend a huge amount of money on energy overall, over $126 million a year on energy. And that's evenly divided for us by cost between diesel fuel that we use for our ready-mix trucks and for our mobile equipment, both on and off-road equipment. About a third in electricity for running our operations, our conveyors and crushers and things like that. And then about a third in the fuel that we use in our cement process, which is primarily coal, coke, and natural gas. So I will talk a little bit about the cement process. It is a very energy-intensive process. There's a picture of a cement plant in the upper right-hand corner. That's one of our plants. Energy costs can amount to about 40% of variable costs. It's been referred to as passing a mountain through the eye of a needle twice. And we are a mining process. We mine limestone out of an open pit quarry. And we take that rock and we crush it, we blend it, and we grind it to a very fine powder, which is where the reference to the needle, passing through the eye of the needle, comes from. And then we heat that material to 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit in our rotary kiln operation. We take that material, which is like a molten lava almost, and we cool it and quench it. And then we grind it again with limestone and gypsum to make the final product of cement, which is a powder. And again, it's the consistency of flour, so it's very fine. And in our case, the typical power demand at one of our cement plants is about 25 to 45 megawatts, which is pretty huge. Briefly, our program, as Walt said, we've been involved for a long time with Energy Star since '96. We created a formal program in 2003, and it was based on that very familiar guideline from Energy Star that has a great process for how to conduct an energy program. So we've made energy management a core culture of our company. We equate it to safety programs that a lot of manufacturing companies have, where that is the #1 priority. And we want our employees to look at energy efficiency as second nature, so that they're well aware of what we're doing, and that's why communications are so important. We have a strong organization with a dedicated corporate energy manager. And then we enlist the help throughout our company of other energy managers who do the energy management portion as just a part of their overall responsibilities, but they are responsible and accountable for the energy use in the company. And we do things like video conferencing to make sure everybody's on board. We have tremendous support from our senior executive team for our program, which I think helps make it a success. And then we try to get people involved in the company from all levels of the company and across all different functional areas. So before I get too far along, I want to tell you why communications are so important for us. And we communicate both internally and externally. And internally, the important part of that is we want to improve awareness for all of our employees and stakeholders. So we want to make them aware of what we're doing, share best practices, that type of thing, but also increase the participation in the program so that as many people in the company can get involved. So part of this includes providing training and letting people know how much energy they consume, and sharing some of the best practices that we've learned over the many years we've been doing this, and help them to improve our efficiency throughout our company. We also want to make resources available to them. We have a lot of tools online for tracking energy and evaluating performance. And for us, a very important part of our program is recognition, and I'll get into that in more detail, but we want to recognize both individual employees and plants and the overall company for things that they've accomplished in helping us succeed. And one of the things we found is particularly with younger employees, energy management and environmental responsibility is very important to their whole work environment. And so we're looking to help with employee satisfaction by doing the right things environmentally. And the last thing internally, we want to solicit ideas. The employees, especially on the front line, have a lot of great ideas on how to improve efficiency. So we always try to bring out ideas from the employees. Externally, communicating our achievements is critical, both with customer relations. We actually do treasure hunts and work with our customers on improving their own energy efficiency. And then we are a very large industrial company, and we have manufacturing plants in a lot of our neighborhoods and communities. So for us, it's important to make sure that we align with those communities, we work with them, we show them that we're doing the right things environmentally, and so that's an important part of our communications. And then finally, we want to demonstrate leadership within our industry and show that we are doing what we need to do to improve the environment. So one of the top priorities for our program is training and awareness, as I said, to get employees aware of what we're doing, what initiatives we're taking on for energy management. Every one of our new employees goes through a new employee orientation where we talk about energy efficiency in our program. We do web meetings, of course, and a few years ago we did a pretty unique program. We called it the President's $1 Million Energy Savings Challenge, where we challenged our employees to come up with energy savings ideas. And our goal was to meet $1 million worth of actual energy savings projects. And so we were successful in doing that. And this initiative had a lot of benefits. Not only did we identify opportunities, we also got a lot of engagement from employees. And we rewarded the best ideas with gift cards and things like that so that we kept the interest and the incentive to do it. We also leverage things like newsletters, our website. We always have recognition on the website of some of the things we're doing and accomplishing. And one of the newest things we've done, particularly with the COVID environment, is to do video training. And our chief energy engineer, Bill Gerald, has taken on doing a lot of videos of manufacturing plants, walking around the plant, talking about the process, but more importantly, identifying opportunities available at those plants for saving energy. And he's posted those on social media and also presented them in some of the presentations we've done. And the thing that wraps everything, it includes all the different facets of communications, is treasure hunts. And when we were able to go, in person to our plants, this allowed us to, spread the awareness of our program. People would learn about the techniques and best practices that we use, learn about how much energy they actually consume, those types of things. So treasure hunts really are a great example of good communications. We're a big believer in competition. It's amazing how that drives people to perform. We have an Energy Cup competition within our cement plants where we challenge each plant to compete based on an Energy Star matrix of how you assess a good energy program. And we've modified that a little bit, but we challenge each plant. It has to do with things like, are you having energy meetings frequently? What is your energy performance? Are you doing energy projects? And they compete one another, and we recognize the best cement plant in this Energy Cup competition at an annual management meeting in front of all the managers in the company. We recognize them as the best plant of that particular year. And it's a pretty competitive process, and people are very enthusiastic about it. And during that management meeting, we also recognize other individuals who have either done some good things with respect to outreach or as far as energy management is concerned. It's also an opportunity for us to recognize the plants who have achieved the Challenge for Industry, which is a savings program that Energy Star has where you save 10% over a 5-year period is the commitment. We do a lot of signage, posters, again, to raise awareness for our employees at the plants on how they can improve efficiencies, also to demonstrate the success we've had. We have Energy Star logo signs where we've been successful in achieving the Partner of the Year award. We try to promote that at the entrance of a lot of plants. And then we have some billboards where it's kind of a unique thing that we expose a lot of people driving on main highways like in Tucson on Route 10. We have a big billboard in front of our plant that we've used to demonstrate our achievements. Another thing that we've done that's interesting is an Energy Star Trophy Tour. When we won a couple of years ago, our energy manager took the trophy around to all our different facilities so that the employees at those facilities would, realize that we actually achieved this. He would take photos with employees and then post that on social media, and that's another good recognition for the award. We do a lot of community outreach, and this is great because it engages our own employees. We participate by having booths and having giveaways and things like that, but we also have demonstrations like efficient lighting displays where we show the differences of various types of lighting and real hands-on things. We have an energy bike that people can get on there and pedal and drive a string of LED lights, so the harder they pedal, the more lights come on. We've actually done some giveaways for people who like our social media pages, and that way they get engaged with some of the things that we're doing. And we have cool things for kids and families like photo booth and an Energy Star tattoo as part of that. Now we do, along with the community, we do student outreach initiatives, and that includes doing school visits. And we're kind of lucky because we have some pretty good props, including a big ready-mix concrete mixer truck that we can bring. Kids absolutely love it. You can see a driver in training in the upper left. And but we do have plant tours. We have created the CPC Cal Portland activity book, which was kind of an idea that came along similar to what the Lorax coloring book was, but when that was no longer available, we created our own. One of our interns came up with some fun ideas like Mickey the Mixer and Wendy the Windmill. We have a lot of wind turbines at one of our cement plants, so that was kind of neat. And then we have some of the community outreach ideas. We have a sidewalk chalk contest. You can see the Energy Star logo on that. We also sponsor a lot of events in the community, including a Smash Derby, car derby. The upper left-hand picture, you can see what's left of a trunk of one of the cars that we entered, and you can see the Energy Star logo at the very edge. But we sponsor things like that, sporting events, rodeos, a lot of things in the community. You can see barely, you can see our signage that we have and Energy Star logos are barely visible there, but that's part of how we reach out to the community and let them know what we're doing. Of course, we use social media, all the different aspects. We use Yammer internally, but we use all the other media platforms to promote the program throughout. I talked about industry leadership. We're very big on promoting our achievements and our program and energy management to our customers and to our industry. And you can see on the left here we have some invoices that we send to customers that have the Energy Star Partner of the Year logo. We also put the logo on calendars that we distribute to customers and to employees. But we also had a booth at one of our cement industry conferences. And this was not to sell any product or anything, but it was mainly to promote energy efficiency to our industry. And again, we had our very famous bike, pedaling bike, and you can see the LEDs on that picture on the right. And then one of our big initiatives within the company is to convert a lot of our mobile fleet from diesel fuel to near zero emission engines that use compressed natural gas. And in this page here, you'll see that we had a big press conference in front of the LA Coliseum, which was a pretty dramatic backdrop for that promotion. But anyway, CNG is a big thing for us. It's a good low emission fuel, and we built several CNG stations to support that as well. A couple of years ago, we did a Cal Portland Industrial Showcase, which was one of the programs that Energy Star promoted a few years ago. And we had it at a cement plant. We invited the local community and government officials. A representative from Energy Star was there to speak, and it allowed us to demonstrate what our plants can do in terms of efficiency. We had a big plant tour, and I think the people who worked at the plant were able to really show off their plant and show a lot of pride in what they do and what they've accomplished. We do some international outreach. One of our energy team people went to Africa recently, and she took, I don't know if you can see the pictures, but all the kids are wearing these beanie hats that we created that have the Energy Star logo. And so she passed that message along on energy management to that group, to the kids. And we also do a lot of work with sending out care packages every year during the holidays. We try to put an Energy Star messaging on those packages, and we've sent out as many as 1,000 packages throughout the world. As I mentioned, we've been very successful over the years. We've been awarded the Energy Star Partner of the Year award for 16 consecutive years, with the last 14 being for sustained excellence. And so we're very proud of that accomplishment. And to tell you the truth, trying to maintain that sustained excellence, it does push us in trying to come up with more ideas and creative ideas to continue our program. And that is all I have. I will turn things over to Dave.
Thank you, Steve. And just a reminder, if you have a question, please put your questions in the chat window, and we will take all questions at the end. We'll address all questions at the end of this session.
All right. So can you hear me okay, Walt?
Yes, we can, Dave.
All right. Good. So hello, everybody. My name is Dave Reed, and I'm the Global Energy Leader for Celanese. And I oversee our energy program for our enterprise-wide manufacturing sites. And I'm going to give you a couple examples of what Celanese has done to raise awareness through different methods of communication of our energy program to promote engagement of our plant teams with energy and sustainability activities, you know, with a real focus on our plant folks and the breakdown into the operation team level of our organization. So a bit of background about Celanese first. So Celanese is a global technology and specialty materials company. We operate 42 manufacturing sites in 19 countries across the world, and we have about 7,000 employees. And most of our plants look like that picture in the top right corner. They're mostly outdoor, large chemical plants that look like that photo in the top corner. Now, from an energy perspective, energy is one of the largest non-raw material costs that we have. More than 70% of our energy is used for thermal energy, mostly to make steam for our chemical processes, and the rest is electricity. We have a strong history of, you know, energy intensity reduction and greenhouse gas reduction. We've got a strong energy program that's consistently improved over many years and has sustained results in energy reduction. We actually met our 2020 energy intensity target 2 years early in 2018. And we've been recognized by Energy Star with Partner of the Year for 5 consecutive years. And I've also had 4 plants recognized with the Challenge for Industry, exceeding that 10% energy intensity reduction in less than 5-year period. Now for Celanese, you know, we're a chemical company, we're a technical company. You know, the technical side of energy, the projects and data are really important for a good energy program, but a big part of the success of our program is engagement of employees, communicating information to them, getting them engaged to contribute in big and small ways to reduce energy in our plants. So I'm going to touch on a few different examples. So most everybody's probably familiar with energy treasure hunts. For Celanese, we've done many treasure hunts across the plants, but in the last few years, we've adapted our treasure hunts into what we call energy blitzes. Now, an energy blitz is a smaller, more nimble version of the full-size treasure hunt. And they're usually done with a small team over, you know, a 2 to 4 hour period, usually a morning or an afternoon. So they're smaller, they're nimbler, they take less people, less resources, take less time, they cost less, and they're much smaller in scope. And they're typically more focused on a targeted energy topic that's important to the plant. But the energy blitzes still give you that same benefit of a full-size treasure hunt. Of course, you still generate the low-cost energy and sustainability ideas. But again, related to communications and engagement, you create that improved culture of engagement and energy across a wide range of employees at the sites, from the operations team to maintenance to the plant manager, right across the organization. And you really get a really great opportunity to publicize your energy program with these energy blitzes to not only the management team, but the employee-based team as well. So energy blitzes have some real upsides over a full-size treasure hunt. You know, it can be difficult, especially in today's conditions, to get a large group of people dedicated for, you know, 3 days of a full-size treasure hunt. And the energy blitzes allow us to do these things with a smaller resource commitment, and they're usually more doable than a full-size treasure hunt. So they're a smaller resource drain, less people, time, and cost. We take less time to plan. And because they're done more frequently, they allow for that more frequent cadence of communication to our site leaders and employees. But again, tying this to communication, the key message with engagement and communication is that we found that the smaller structure and the more frequent repetition of our blitzes actually helps to accelerate that behavior change and engagement that we're looking for. We get a chance to communicate much more with people in the plant as well as the leadership of the plant. And that small size and frequency of the blitzes allows us to bring more people in over time and get more people familiar with the treasure hunt concepts and keep that momentum of frequent communication to the site leaders and employees. Now, blitzes do have some downsides since they're shorter and smaller. We don't usually get the bigger energy savings opportunities. We typically only get the smaller opportunities, but we get that opportunity to talk to people and communicate much more frequently. So a few examples of how we've used blitzes to target specific issues or components of energy. We've done blitzes on areas of the plant that have been mothballed to make sure that all the energy is shut off. We've done blitzes to ensure units are appropriately winterized, and done cold weather energy blitzes to ensure we minimize the heat wasted and missing insulation and open doors and things like that. We've done blitzes after turnarounds to ensure that systems were put back in place after the turnaround, and some of the leaks that we needed to get fixed actually got fixed. So we've used the blitzes really to target specific areas of plants to go after. And again, all these examples give us a chance to engage and communicate with our plant employees on ways to improve efficiency in ways that make sense for them and that relate to, the operations teams in the chemical plants. So another tool that we've developed in the last year or so to generate engagement and drive communication is what we call energy sparks. Now, sometimes everyone's probably familiar with this. Sometimes even the best energy projects that we put together and the equipment that we put out in our plants can underperform through misoperation or just lack of know-how on the energy system should work. And through that misunderstanding or some of those knowledge gaps, sometimes our energy systems are operated with things like incorrect set points, inefficient lineup of the equipment, and sometimes, even in manual mode that are bypassing some of the automation that we put in to optimize the energy systems. And when our teams don't know the dollar value of the energy losses, they don't realize how big the magnitude of what can seem like an insignificant issue like a leak, a steam leak, or a compressed air leak. And people can become complacent to that inefficient operation. So we developed these tools called Energy Sparks, and it's a tool that we've developed to give our operations teams who are running our plants a stronger understanding of energy as it relates to their jobs, what they do in the plant every day. And we picked topics that made sense for our plants and our people. And the goal is really to share that knowledge, that energy knowledge, and spark conversation in the teams, get action by the operation teams, and also generate some new ideas related to energy efficiency and costs. So what Energy Sparks are, they're a simple and quick 2-minute fact sharing, conversation starter, and a simple 1-page did you know format. And we typically use those either on screens within the plant, in lunchrooms and things like that, or at the shift toolbox meetings at the beginning of their shift to spark that conversation, get that communication going across the teams. And our Sparks cover a wide range of topics in the manufacturing plant with a manufacturing mindset, including things like steam traps, compressed air, insulation, pumping systems, things that our operations teams see every day. But other plants can tailor them. Others, companies can tailor it to exactly what you want and what's important to your needs. So Energy Sparks are part of an overall energy management strategy. They're not the end-all and be-all, and they contribute to energy reduction by, again, changing that mindset, by communicating with the operation teams to make the difference. And that difference is what, in the end, results in improved energy usage and cost. So the Sparks initiate conversation, they initiate action at the shift team level. We've got many examples where a conversation on an energy spark led to an energy finding, resulting in saving energy. And we currently have about 16 Energy Sparks available We've translated them into English and Spanish so we can relate to our operations teams, especially in the Americas areas. And we're working to adapt the concept to other sustainability topics like water and waste, and even non-sustainability topics like quality. And again, this mindset change is not only for at work, but it also carries over to home and community. We found examples where people have taken these Energy Sparks home and showed them to their families and said, hey, and engaging that next level and that next generation of energy savers across the company. So another way that one of our plants, our Edmonton site up in Canada, had increased their level of employee involvement even further on top of the energy blitzes that we talked about in Energy Sparks concept is by a great program they called the Small Bites campaign. And they did it as part of the Earth Day celebration back in 2019. The Small Bites campaign is a program, again, to engage people, to communicate with people in small activities that reduce energy or contribute to sustainability and the environment, with the idea that many small changes lead to big impacts. And these activities can again apply to at work or even activities that are outside work. And the plant, which has about 60 full-time employees, collected over 100 hours of activities related to energy and sustainability, again, contributing to that overall engagement that we're looking for. Another thing that the Edmonton plant did is on Energy Star Day last year, they built on the Small Bites program and the Energy Blitzes by handing out what we call Energy Action Awareness cards at shift change to all the shift personnel that came into the plant. And they also had a chance to review the site energy program and our Energy Star partnership with the shift teams. And these action cards, what they are reminders of what to look for and what to do when finding energy issues in the plant. So it's kind of a memory jogger, and also when they find something, it gives them some details on what they need to do and what they can do. And it can be used by employees during the blitzes that we talked about before, or just part of their normal routine rounds and walkthroughs in the plant. Another great example of site engagement activity where we really stepped up the communication was at last year's Energy Star Day, when our Narrows plant in Virginia conducted a gate greet. And we had the chance there to touch bases with more than 700 employees and contractors at the plant. And they were met at the beginning of their shifts at the gate with a brief message about energy efficiency, a reminder of how important energy efficiency was at the plant, and then an Energy Star LED light bulb to take home with them to again share with their families and talk about and communicate energy with their families at home. So in conclusion, again, a big part of the success of our energy program, and I think any energy program, is communication and engagement of employees to get them involved in big and small ways to energy reduction. And we use these programs, whether they're energy blitzes, energy sparks, energy awareness cards, or some of the other site engagement activities around Earth Day and Energy Star Day, to promote energy reduction by communication and to engage employees to get out and contribute to the energy program. With that, I will end there, and I will pass the communication over to Tracy.
Thanks, Dave. And again, if you have a question, please put it in the chat window, and we will get to all the questions at the end.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I had control. Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Tracy.
Okay, great. Thanks. So my name is Tracy Fielli. I'm an energy and water lead through the Global Realty Services organization at Raytheon Technologies. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about our communication program over the years, give you a little history, some of our what we consider some of our highlight activities that we've done over the years. One thing is we are currently going through a merger. Raytheon Company merged with United Technologies. We're now Raytheon Technologies. So most of the aspects I'm going to be talking about are our legacy Raytheon Company. And as we're merging this year, a lot of this, we'll be going forward with a lot of this. So just to kind of set the tone here on this. But to talk about, Raytheon Technologies now as we exist, again, two companies came together. We have about 180,000 employees, over 250 major locations. We are aerospace and defense, so we cover a large amount of various products. So one of the things that we've always said about our company is you know, we have a lot of different aspects. Our plants are not very similar, many of them. So it makes our program a little more challenging and when we communicate. So we need to keep things at a high level, very general, and then when we get into a specific plant, a little bit more specific. So energy for our company is about a $300 million spend. So as it stands with some of the other companies you've heard from today, it's probably not as much of a cost as it is with other companies. However, I think energy is really important to Raytheon. Number one, the environmental impact, but also number two, being in the defense industry, being cost competitive is important to us as well. So our energy program is very important to us overall, even though it might not be as costly as some of the other companies you heard from today. And we do a lot of internal and external, and the reason it's important communications is employee engagement is key, making sure they know how they can get involved. Also, you know, they want to know that our company is doing the right thing, but we also take it as a very important part of our being in the community is involving being a good community citizen. So again, we do a lot of external communications as well to youth groups and also, you know, to other companies in our region to make sure they understand how to be a good energy citizen. So that's kind of a quick overview. So one of the things, and I think, you know, we talked about this, is continuous improvement. So this is kind of our aspects as we've gone through the years. You can see to the left, you know, we started out with the posters a long time ago. So we've, you know, continued to use different technologies, different campaign messages, depending on what we're trying to get across. And again, we've more recently tried to go a little bit deeper and broader. So again, it's continuous improvement as you go through. So you can see we started out to the left with posters. We had a really aggressive campaign over the years on signage and enforcement. We started with the enforcement, which was giving a ticket if we found things on. And we've tried to go to a more gentle, which is signage, again, saying here's what you should be doing. So there's been a lot on that area. We had a really good campaign. I'll go into more details on this, where we did quizzes and pledges, very successful for many, many years, still exists, will be rejuvenated as we go forward as well. I'll get into more details. And more recently, you know, getting away from the posters and so on and so forth and going to our digital technology. That way we can cover a very broad amount of people, various aspects at a more affordable price. So again, digital has been where we've been more lately. So let's go to the next one. So I want to talk a little bit about the different types of outreach that we do in events, and Energy Star is a very, very big part of that. We have had our 13th consecutive year as sustained excellence. So, and we've been with the program for over 20 years. So again, Energy Star is part of the foundation of our program. As you can see, employees, when we outreach to the employees, it's usually front and center at our booths. We have fairs. And as you've heard from other people, this is, you know, probably the best form of communication that we can do with our employees to make sure they understand how important energy is for Raytheon. It's that personal aspect. We wish we had time to do more of these. But, you know, we take the opportunity doing fairs, you know, booths. We engage with our employee resource groups. So sometimes they're big events, sometimes they're small events. But again, that personal one-on-one communication where you can have a conversation with your employees, I think is really, really key. And it'll supplement the other things that you're doing. But this is the one I think that's the most important. We also engage a lot with organizations, national organizations and local, whether it's Association of Energy Engineers, IFMA. We work a lot with our utility companies and local associations, and we will host various events at our facilities supporting energy. and also supporting the Energy Star program when we are communicating about how our program has been successful over the years. We make sure that we include that in there. And I think one of the most exciting things that we've done the last couple of years is that real community outreach, especially with the youth. And we have a woman in California who really kind of took this on and really championed it and got our other communities involved. And this is through the Boys and Girls Club. This organization is fantastic. We supported it at our company in many aspects, and we took that on as well with energy. We pulled in STEM to it because we know STEM's important. So we've had a couple of really successful engagements with the Boys and Girls Clubs, getting them involved. It's a poster contest. We've done it. Unfortunately, this year we will not be doing it because of COVID. But, you know, we just really got a real kick out of it. The kids love it, and they are so excited about this. So, again, we try to make Energy Star integrated into many forms of our communication. So this is the Energy Citizen, which transitioned to Sustainability Star that we were very successful with. This, we started out as a pilot, and then it really was successful, so we put it across the company. It became enterprise-wide, and it was pretty simple. It was an online quiz, simple questions, not too difficult. We tried to make it both home and work. Again, we focused on some habits. We wanted it to really be, you know, to really have people think about habits as well as educating them. And then when they passed it, they got a little lapel pin. So, of course, you do this, and then every year you have to make it different, or you have to change it slightly. So, you know, every year we were challenged to do that. We changed the pin so that they had to retake it, and we changed the question slightly, and they got a different pin. And that went on for a couple of years. This was supported by our business presidents and leaders, which was fantastic. And after that, we decided it was so successful, we pulled in all of our sustainability aspects. So you included waste, chemicals, trying to remember what the other, water we pulled in. So again, we went off and looked at all of our sustainability focus areas, included them, did a little learning module on each of them. So this expanded, and there was a couple of questions for each, a video they had to watch. And then the final piece that they had to do was they actually had to pledge an actionable component, which kind of gets into, you know, where our communication is going now. You know, having them take quizzes and learn something new is great, but we actually want them to start taking action. So this program still exists, and some of our sites are more successful at continuing to get people engaged, but it has been really great in keeping that employee communication going. So I think what I want to shift now to is in 2019, one of the big changes that happened is we were able to have joined on our team a communications expert, which kind of really changed the way that we were looking at things. And, you know, she really put structure around it, helped us to establish what our objective really was, and making sure we had a plan to meet that objective. So after the years of communicating at a very high level, and this gets to the point I was talking about, is we needed a more action-oriented communication plan. So we wanted to make sure that people were engaged, but also they understood the actions that they were supposed to be taking. And that's specific to the plug load, because about 50% of the energy that is used, depending on the building and the site, is something that, you know, the general employee can influence. It might not be that they can turn something off. It might mean that they're an engineer that can think about how they do things differently when they're setting up a process or when we're starting to design something. So it's really important to make sure our employees understand the part that they play. And part of what we also really wanted to do is communicate real life examples, you know, show people what other ones. So this is kind of, you know, celebrating success of our employees and what they've done. So this was really a good game changer for us. Gave us a lot more structure, gave us some leadership support. We got some funding, which has been very key. And we're able to do this with some great structure. So I'm going to go to the next page. Sorry, something popped up on my screen. Okay. So this is where, again, we talked a lot about, how we were going to execute this now. So we came up with a whole bunch of different tools that we were going to use. One of them was videos, which was new to us. So we had support from our management. So we did that in addition to articles at a very high company level at 3 key days, World Water Day, Earth Day, and Energy Action Month. We used a lot of digital signage, and we got our website revamped. So again, the purpose on this video was to really give a sense of what employees can do around this. So right now, I'd like if we could play the video right now. Did I need to do something, or are we good?
I think Carson's bringing it up.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Hey, Tracy. Sorry, I was on mute.
Okay.
Yep, I'm
that's
up
okay.
the video right now.
All right, great. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So that kind of gets to the, the recent change that we have been trying to make is all about, action. What is the action that employees can take? So I'm going to skip over. We track a lot about our communications results. I'm looking at the time here. I want to leave time for questions. So one of the other things that I would really like to highlight is how we try to integrate in some other programs we have. Virgin Pulse is part of our engagement program for health and wellness. And we've been able to engage with them and make sure that energy is one of those habits that we try to instill, energy conservation. We do it through either daily cards where we promote Energy Star products, or we put a challenge out there where we'll say this week is the challenge. And again, they have to take specific actions. We outline specific actions that we want them to take. And it can be like talk to somebody, make sure they understand. It can be take an action. It can be a home action where you at least program your thermostat, you know, some different things like that. So again, it's all around taking action is the way we're trying to make that. And then I want to talk a lot about our external networks, which I think are really important for a couple of reasons. And one of the ones that we've recently been doing is our best practices network in the New England region. And we partner with the local Region 1 Energy Star EPA person, Emily Bulger, and she has been really instrumental in pulling this program together. It is a whole bunch of different companies. They're both manufacturers, breweries, property managers, universities. We share best practices. We learn from each other. We've been promoting the treasure hunts. So this has been a really great way. Again, we all know that we learn from others. So this has been another great way that we communicate because we feel it's important as a citizen that we also make sure other companies are aware on how they should be operating. And then, so communicating our achievements, that's really important to us. So we do that through a couple of different ways. We, you know, try to make sure we recognize the accomplishment of our Energy Star Awards, both in our internal and external. So our corporate responsibility report, our sustainability goals and accomplishments. We talk about those all the time. We highlight it in our web pages. And then again, externally, we have done a little bit on social media, but Raytheon is not really a huge social media person and fun like maybe some other people are, but we do attempt to get some social media out there as well. So again, communication is important. I think everyone said, I've really enjoyed seeing what some of the other people are doing. I think you really need to think about your communication program and how it would apply to you and what your objectives are. And I think with that, I'm all done.
Thanks, Tracy. And before we go to Q&A, just a couple quick announcements from Energy Star we just wanted to make people aware of. So Carson, could you just run through these?
Yep, thanks, Walt. And I just want to remind everyone, if you're interested in applying for Energy Star certification, there are a couple of changes to the process due to COVID-19, and I want to leave plenty of time for questions, so I'm not going to run through all these in detail, but the main things you need to know are that if you're interested in applying for Energy Star certification for commercial buildings, you can apply with energy data now through July of 2020. So any energy data from July 2020 or earlier is able to be used in the certification process. And if you're interested in getting more information on that, you can go to energystar.gov/COVID updates for all of the specific changes and requirements for certification. And also the certification deadline for 2020, again, for commercial buildings, has been extended to February 10th, 2021. The deadline for industrial plants is still November 30th, 2020, so coming up in just a couple weeks. And then lastly, one more thing we want to mention is that the Energy Star program released a new recognition for tenant spaces within office buildings. So if you have a tenant space that an efficient tenant space within an office building, you're able to apply for recognition for that particular portion of the building. So that wouldn't be whole building certification like we have typically offered in the past. This is a new recognition for tenant spaces, so a smaller space within the building. And there are a few criteria for that, which are listed on the slide. And you can go to energystar.gov/tenant recognition for more information on that program. All right, and Walt, I'll pass it back to you now to get started with the Q&A.
Thanks, Carson. And we have received a number of questions